your finger move kind of gave the balloons.
Right.
Okay, there we go. Recording is started. Okay, so for any of you who has questions, who doesn't understand English, you can always turn on the Google Captions, or if you have questions, you are welcome to leave messages on the chats or on the QA
Mhm.
feature. Okay, this is our table of contents today. And let's get started. And I don't know how I can. Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Okay. All right. So 2024 forecast, were we correct? So if you guys remember, about exact 1 year ago,
Mhm.
AX had the very first webinar on like what had happened in 2023 and then what's will to come in
Mhm.
2024. And I would like to start with a very snippet of what we went over in that webinar. And we did talk about the Japanese yen is going low, and there will be more and more travelers to come in. So like targeting the inbound
Mhm.
visitors to Japan may be a good target.
Yeah.
And let's see what happened.
This year.
Mhm.
So the previous slide, the Japanese yen is 143, and this was yesterday, I believe, it's 154. Yeah, we're just all crying inside, but I guess it's good for all the visitors.
Yeah,
going
yay
to
for
Japan.
all of you. You should pay your visit to
I
Japan
know.
before it, I don't know, like goes back to 120 or something.
Yeah, a lot of my friends visiting, they are adding luggages because they shopped a lot, and there's like a trend right now. They're saying like, did I took advantage of the weak Japanese yen, or the weak Japanese yen took advantage of me? But yeah, it's been the trend lately, and there's lots and lots of visitors. Like
Yeah.
if you see this graph from JNTO, the 2024 is way above even the pre-COVID.
Yeah, it's right there, right?
Yeah. So yeah, we've
It's the Japan ever record.
yes.
Mm.
And due to that as well, Japan has been having this debate on dual pricing, meaning like the pricing for like locals and the foreign visitors, like they want to like have different kind of pricing. So yeah, that's kind of been a thing in Japan lately.
Mm.
And do you agree with that one?
It's hard to tell.
I just
don't
wish they give us the residents discount instead. Instead of putting everything high. But anyway,
It's a complicated one.
so yeah, that's just like one insight that we had, and still like true
Mhm.
as of this year. And actually going to share the this one. So as an opportunity with that one, so we've observed like some apps have been doing like campaigns, which is like an opportunity.
Yep.
Like Slopes, they did like a win a trip to Japan
Mhm.
through their app. So I think that's one opportunity that we can have as an app. If it's like related to like
Yeah.
travel, or like anything related to
Yeah, I
Japan.
mean, even if it's not related, you can always, have the first prize as, win a trip to go to Japan.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. So, that's just a rewind. Look how much I changed over a year. Maybe you guys may have none of this, but anyway, I kind of changed it, I think. But anyway, that's a quick recap, and let's get into it. So, 2023 versus 2024, apps and games. So we could easily tell that people are spending a lot more money on the iOS. Yeah, we usually say that it's about the 6-to-4 ratio of the device number. iOS is 6 and Android is 4 in Japan. But the revenue spend, but by the way, all the data is coming from Epica, our partner. So yeah, so revenue wise, it's about 3 or twice more on the about 3 times more on the iOS than Android. And people are also spending a lot more on games than apps. But even that being said, compared to 2023, the people are spending less on both apps and games, but the decrease ratio of the games are a bit harsher than that of apps. So like apps -1%, that's pretty much about the same. And when you think about the increase of the dollar from Japanese yen, it's quite impressive in the connotation. But for games, it has gone down pretty steep. So I think I'll continuously go back to the term smart spending. So it looks like people are spending less on hobbies like games, but invest more on their knowledge and productivity and something closer to building themselves in a more, I guess, meaningful. And I mean, playing games are all meaningful. I'm not against it, but usually, when you do, put your effort on studying and reading books and things like that, you usually relate to smarter and for yourself spending. So we will get back to that point, more often. And download wise, Android, despite of the decrease in the revenue, it had gained more download in both apps and games. I think we see this is due to the increase in the Android users, like in terms of the number of devices in Japan, due to Japanese government support on Android phones. What happened there was it was back in about when was it, like end of December of last year. So like throughout 2024, the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications in Japan decided to support about $300 for the people who purchased new Android device, because Japanese government want to support the telecom company who's developed and then built so many, I guess, connection constructions for the 5G millimeter wave. I try to do some research about it. I kind of know what it is, but so like it fits me. It's anyway. So it's supposed to offer a very high speed internet and internet data. So trying to support that part of industry, the government was supporting the Android phones. So up until that point, iOS always, remained more than 60% of the OS, market share. But with that, by 2024 August, Android actually surpassed the 40 line, and now it's 59 to 40.6. So it's still about 6 to 4. But this increase in the Android devices may also have caused the more downloads in both apps and games in 2024. Okay, let's dig deeper into which category, what kind of services actually, thrive. So we will call the 2023 top revenue rankers as depending champs, and then the 2024 as challengers, and we'll find out which defending champs have lost to the challengers and who are the new champs in 2024. Okay, let's first talk about the apps on iOS. Okay, so we first, analyzed the top 2,000 revenue ranking on the apps, and we made a comparison between 23 and the 2024, and the category wise, and revenue growth. Entertainment category increased by 46%, productivity 39%, utility 20%, photo and video 6%, entertainment 2%, books by 1%. And in detail, what are they? Entertainment wise is closer to Japan-made OTT services. On the top services, it's Unex, Abema, very close to the Japanese sports and the Japanese made content and lifestyle. Is a mixture of the manga apps and then the dating apps and the music, live music, and Amazon Music. Actually, Spotify should be here, but Spotify doesn't offer purchase on the app, so I don't think that's why it's not tracked there. So And those are some of the examples of from 2023 and 24. The graph looks almost the same.
Mhm.
Do you notice some difference from 23?
GPT.
Is the GPT. Yes, and we will get back to it. And so, what had changed the most compared to 23 is the decrease in the lifestyle.
Mhm.
And then, well, entertainment and lifestyle both decreased, but the lifestyle lost more.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, like big lifestyle apps like Picoma, Pairs dropped big time. Picoma is a manga, yeah?
Mhm.
Provided by, I think, Kakao. That's actually, Korean made. But anyway, Picoma lost $7 million monthly spend. Pairs
Mhm.
lost about 100K monthly spend. So that's a big, big chunk.
Mhm.
So I think that might have been the cause of the loss in the lifestyle, and manga apps, including Picoma in general, lost revenue. And Pairs, I think it just has more and more competitors.
Mm.
And in other terms, entertainment, even though it's now the first category that had the most revenue, but it still lost a lot because the live streaming and live chat apps like the random chats, right?
Mhm.
And then streaming on yourself, and then maybe with just your voice. Those kind of apps were on the high rankings in 2023, but they went down by 20, big time, like 24, 2014, kind of decreased. But the short form drama apps, mostly developed in China,
Mhm.
landed in Japan quite successfully, and then became the new chains. Shortbox is 23, and Top Short 84, and things like that. So the entertainment champs kind of changed in 2024, and the manga apps,
Wow, a lot of them.
a lot of them actually dropped from the ranking and revenue. So the manga poke is this one, dropped in ranking by 3 and is now ranked at 18, and manga box dropped by 15 rankings and now is at 66. Manga Up dropped by 13, now at 67. So, like, by far, the Manga Poke is by the only manga app that did not decrease more than 10 rankings in 2024. So, it kind of goes back to our idea of smart spending.
Mhm.
So, people are trying to spend less on their entertainments and their hobbies. And let's see, what they decide to spend those money in. Yes, productivity apps is the development of AI has been a huge news across the globe, across the industry, and in the services. GPT also gained a lot of revenue in Japan. So just with GPT, the productivity category had about 100% more revenue, and then 344 more percent more download. Because I mean, ChatGPT is taking up like 47% of the entire revenue of the productivity apps within the top 100 acquired in 2024. So this has to be the main cause of this increase. And then education apps are making more money in Japan.
Mm.
Well, they made more money in 2024. So language learning, instead of spending their money on mangas,
Yeah.
seems to be thriving. And English and Korean seem to be the popular languages among Japanese users.
Oh. And why? Why do they study Korean?
Yeah, beats me.
So
I don't know. I'm
apparently,
a Korean person, but
oh yeah, this survey was from Duolingo, Japan, and they had a research that 75% of the people who spend for their like idols,
Mhm.
they also spend for studying Korean.
wow,
And
I should
yeah.
be the idol then. Career change.
Yeah, could be the teacher.
Teacher of
And yeah.
Korean Idol, maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
The more money they spend on their favorite idols, the more they study the language.
That's interesting. So, like, that's how big and enthusiastic they
Mhm.
are
I guess.
about their faves.
Yeah, I'm a fan as well.
So,
Big fan, but
yeah.
like do wish to like just focus on their faces more than reading
Like
the
having to
subtitles.
communicate with them.
Yeah.
I guess, I even though I mentioned so much about the smart spending, we have to check the motivation carefully.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, even though we say this, the people study English and Korean for their career purpose most likely, but it's just very interesting that whenever, Japanese people get motivated to do something, it's really, really deep. It can be very deep. So like, the following the faves, following the idols and supporting them can just be very simple as, watching their shows and going to their concert, buying the goods from them. But Japanese users take on an extra step. They learn their faves language.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting point. Okay, let's find out what happened in Android now.
Is it a different story?
Let's see. So overall, top 2000 and a graph change is the lifestyle that had gained more revenue, and education again, a little bit of entertainment and social. I think it's gonna be eventually about the same. It's the 2023 category and pie chart, and 2024 compared to 23 is actually less comics and less sports, but more socials and more productivity in terms of the count of the apps. And revenue wise, so entertainment grew a lot, but comics dropped very much. There's $10 million monthly spend loss in the comics. So that's the same story with iOS, right? And a little bitty ranking change in the categories among the downside. And yeah, what happened to the lifestyle then that it all of a sudden gained so much revenue?
Wonder.
Yeah. Yeah, it was to my surprise because the lifestyle apps gained 103% more revenue compared to 2023. And yeah, this is based on the top 100 rankings comparing contrast. So what happened here, interestingly enough, was that all of these four dating apps are for the senior dating.
Good targeting. They're the ones who has the
Yeah, it was to my surprise because thankfully I'm not senior yet, and I didn't have to go there yet. But anyway, so so I was very surprised to see four, not just one or two, but four within 100, top 100, revenue rankings. So the very left one, so it can be translated into senior love story international, and now it's ranked at 46 and has gained 230K more monthly revenue. And following the titles about this very similar, and yeah, is now at now at ranking 56 and is gaining 188K monthly more monthly revenue and so on. So just and it definitely supports the this demographic difference between iOS users in Japan and Android users in Japan.
right.
Android users tend to be older and a little more male focused, and most of these apps are only available on Android. I think there's reason for that.
That's really good for them, though. I would love to.
Yeah, I mean, but I did say dating apps, but when I did a little more research about it, it's not like bluntly for dating. It's more just for finding friends in your in the same
That's-
age groups.
That's nice. That's
Yeah.
really nice.
So friends who can play table tennis together and go on a walk together in the
That's
neighborhood.
cute.
So that's what I found out. But yeah, it's from a user to user.
Good
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
Love that for Japan.
Definitely. So it's an interesting point, and yeah, education app. That's the same story with iOS. And Duolingo was not ranked within top 100 revenue in
Last year.
2003, but now it is.
The green bird.
And the green bird it seems to drive a lot of downloads to the education category in 2024.
And yeah, not just Korean that they're studying, but there's a increase in learning English as well.
Through a smartphone, right?
Yes. So this survey is like how do you like learn English, and the first one is like textbook, and then second is online lesson, and up to third is the English learning course.
Just correct us. The second ranking was offline lessons.
Offline
Yeah.
lesson. What did I say?
Online.
Online. Offline lesson.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a
So
lot.
yeah, English and Korean, but more weight on English is the language that the Japanese people like to learn and like to master. And Duolingo is taking an important, part on that. And yeah, I think it's still, we are still safe to say that Japanese people had the tendency toward smart spending in 2024.
Yeah. Even in my circle, I know people who are studying English through apps too. So it's very true. I can feel it.
Yep. So more drop on the manga comic apps in Android compared to iOS. So, and these four manga apps were kicked out of top 100 ranking chart.
I'm surprised with Gamma because Gamma is like ranking.
Yeah, it's been in the industry for 11 years, and there's the manga box 10 years, and still couldn't maintain in the top 100 charts. Yep, and this live chat, random chat apps, same as iOS, dropped in rankings. They weren't the lost champ, they weren't kicked out of the 100, but they dropped in ranking very much. And instead of them, the new champs, new faces are these cute avatar room decoration social apps. Yeah, I said very confusing way, but what people do here is that you make your own avatar slash character, and then you will have your own room or town, and then you can socialize with other users on that world. So it kind of looks like game, but it's not technically a game. It's pretty much you're socializing with other people, except that you are either an animal or doll.
Cute. Can we say it's like a modern day paper dolls?
Let's. You're fair to say that. Yeah.
I can relate to that. I would love to. While researching, I saw the apps and how they play it too. I'm like, that's interesting. I would love to play that.
Maybe
It's cute.
we should create a town for AS members. I don't know. Yeah. So there's that, and so both OS, TikTok increased a lot. So when we kind of briefly touched on photo and video, and it's usually because of TikTok and TikTok Lite. And as I mentioned briefly, the Japan-made OTT Abema Unext seem to make more revenue, and Disney Plus is ranked up pretty high, and while Netflix kind of decreased this. It's just gonna be ups and downs among these big OTT services.
But yeah, Disney Plus, I noticed they have more Japanese shows now, so probably there's the reason why as well.
Yeah. It's always gonna be competitive, and one USP for OTT is likely going to be sports, especially the live streaming of the Japanese, maybe baseball, soccer, basketball, and things like that. And Abema does that very well. And ever since the World Cup in 2022, they've gained sports fans within their boundary. Okay, so let's also touch on the monetization. Okay, so now we know who are the new champs and who are the lost champs. And let's find out how they monetize in Japan. And let's also find out how much money the Japanese users were willing to pay in 2024. Okay, so Venn diagram is very I hope this is easy to understand for everybody. And yep, so 93% of new champs have subscription-based monetization, while 60% has IAP. Every subscription-based apps offer IAP, except for the language learning services and Amazon Audiobook, Audible. And then about 53% of monetized from IAA. But interestingly enough, there are only 4 out of 15 new champs. So that's about 27%. Were the Japan-made apps. So there's the Docomo anime store. So Docomo is the one of the biggest, telecom company, and then they offer this anime specific OTT service and it's gained more revenue in 2024. And there's the matching app here, and there's the Gamma in iOS. So like we saw Gamma kicked out in Android, but it was a new champ in the iOS. So there is I guess the manga scenes are also very competitive in Japan, just like the OTT.
For sure.
And language learning app ABC is a TOEIC, like it's an app for English studying for the test focused, app that's only for our Japanese made. So we are fair to say that in the global apps, especially the Chinese-made short drama apps and AI-based productive apps, have been very significant, and that's how. So most of them are through either the subscription or the IAP. That's how they monetize, and the money spent wise, we've researched all the paid items of these new champs, and then found the median of these 50. So IAP, the minimum median starts from 300 to maximum 5,900 yen. And subscription mostly monthly. It can start from 2,600 yen to about 30,000 Japanese yen. So compared to US, as far as I understand correctly, I remember it's cheaper than was normal in US or in the European markets. So yep, I think it's going to be productive for most of you when you think about pricing before launching your apps in Japan. And how about Android? Okay, the Venn diagram is now a little more crammed, but anyway, yeah, we see more Japanese-made apps in the Android side with the help of the decoration avatar apps, and then the senior dating apps. Yeah, and then IAP and the subscription wise, the IAP tends to be more expensive on the Android side. So like the spend is wider in the Android side, but subscription wise is smaller. So we can say that or infer that the Android users prefer to purchase just one-time temporary items rather than having to commit for monthly or yearly subscription. I think it's the user behavior towards the with the amount of the budget that the users are willing to spend on the apps. Yep.
Interesting.
So far that's the apps. So we have only 30 minutes left, but we still have to go over the games and then the content and game change. So please allow me to go very quickly on the content. Yeah, the recording will be shared with you guys, and you guys are always welcome to get back to us with questions on the LinkedIn. We'll share that in a minute. Okay, games. Categories. Casual games, a lot of increase. 44%. Strategy / casual strategy, 70%. Card. Pokemon TCG card. Is it the right title?
Yep.
Okay.
TCG.
Yeah. So
Oh,
yeah, there are just so many different Pokemon games, and I'll never get the right title out in the first try. So, but other categories that had more than 10 million monthly spend all decreased except these three categories. So that's 23 distribution in 2024. Less RPG counts and less adventure games counts. And there are more action games, there are more casual games in the market. And then revenue-wise, look at this. Action dropped $21 million monthly spend. Well, that's the total category, stuff, and then 14 million drop in RPG. And we are only talking about the top 100 games. So that's a huge drop. And then increase in the strategy, casual, and the card games. So I guess it's kind of going back to the smart spending, but let's just move on because I will add my explanation to that point. So big threes in casual games. Yay. Uh, do we have Luis tonight? We had a registrant from King, but anyway, Candy Crush.
Online, but
Yeah,
we'll probably look at it
good,
later.
good. So there is Royal Match on the ranking 8, Toon Blast 31, Candy Crush 75, and all of them kind of increased in the rankings. Especially Toon Blast had the most increased rankings, and overall casual games gained 52 more revenue compared to 2023. Top 100. Casual games. Pokemon TCG Pocket is a very big hit. And it released like late October, so it's been out there for about 20 months and is still ranked in 48
Yeah, that was
in the
quick.
revenue. Yeah, so it does say a lot about Pokemon IP in Japan. And with the big help of the Pokemon TCG Pocket, the card games have increased 11% of revenue increase. And the strategy games, yeah, when you hear the word strategy, one may usually think of like the Age of Empire type of, very hardcore, you have to think through, but we have Last War and then the Age of Survival, I think, State of Survival,
Origins.
Age of Origins, my bad. Yep. So I think, strategy slash casual games, or at least, how they portray on the ads.
Mhm.
They look very simple and easy to play. And that's I think that's why they managed to gain more revenue compared to 23. And all of these casually playable games, despite of the categories, are overall all newly ranked games in 2024. Brawl Stars, White House Survival, Legend of Mushrooms, Roblox. I mean, and Pikmin, AFK Journey, and then Isekai no Miri. I don't know how that's called in English. So healing life in a different world. So you technically do nothing in the game, just enjoy farming and then gathering the crops and then revive the town. So
Very casual.
all demonstrated on the ads and the banners and the posters and screenshots. Very casually playable games, and the Japanese users and players react to those games. And let's see if we have the same story in the Android. Yep, casual category was the only category that increased in revenue among the categories that have more than $5 million monthly revenue. And worth mentioning is the card. So minus 1.52, they did well because we have music, which decreased by 36.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, because the music and reading games are one of a very strong niche market in Japan. The Project Sekai and Ensemble Stars and all the idol related, the
Right.
like Bang Dreams and then the Love Live. Don't ask me why I know all this, but yeah, it dropped in revenue a big time. And I feel like I realized that people used to play more than 2 music games, reading games at the same time, but I think the number of games that they play with the reading games kind of shrunk. And that's the distribution of the 23 compared to that in 2024. What happened? Same with iOS. That's RPG games and less music games in the top 100 ranking, and more casual games, more puzzle games. So hyper casual are driving in both OS. We can say that. So more about the category comparison. The drop in the RPG and action is pretty huge. 35 million monthly spend. So that's worse than what we saw in the US. And yep. So and music was about 10 million monthly spend, and now it's about only 4.5. So yeah, it shrunk to half. Casual is the only category that kind of went up. So what happened to RPG? Let's dig deeper with that. And it happens that the popular IP-based RPG games kind of increased in revenue and the rankings. So that's Jujutsu Kaisen, Final Fantasy, and This is the Leslania. So that's and the Monster Hunter now. But there are also the Lost IP, One Piece, Dragon Ball Z, Blue Lock. So I think
out of 100, right?
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, they don't stay in the 100 anymore.
Mhm.
And then there is a huge drop from the MMORPG Lineage W, and 49 ranking drops. So, I mean, the trends for what's popular IP changes more quickly. And then I think, just like what Pokemon did with the TCG card Pocket, they need to, really, constantly provide something new with the IP to the users. Because this game has been in the industry for more than 5 years, and Dragon Ball 2 and Blue Lock, relatively, recent IP, but it couldn't really hold its place with the uprising IPs and games. And meanwhile, while the IPs with the RPG category kind of compete and then went on a war, huge playable games all became new champs very quietly, but not at the same time quietly. It's they spent a lot on the hands. Like I go on the Instagram, I go on Facebook, I go on TikTok. Wherever I go, I at least see one of those games ads.
True. Even in the train too, Pikmin is always in the train.
Yeah. So I think it's also having to do with the overall budget size on the game marketing in Japan are increasing. Okay, so monetization of the games, more Venn diagrams, and yeah. So the Spark here, stands for they offer the monthly pass instead of the classic way of subscription. I'm pretty sure you guys are all aware of this. Monthly pass means, but it's the items are given to by the purchase the users over a month or a week. It depends on the items, but this does not automatically renew every month.
Mhm.
So we have these many games that offer the so-called monthly pass, and there is only one game, the solo leveling, uh, that also offers subscription. So we, put the mark on here, right? So it offers, monthly pass, but it also this is the only new champ game that offer the subscription monetization. Yep, and IAP is 100%. Every new champ offers IAP, and most of them also offer the monthly pass, and some of them monetize from the IAA. So we are safe to say, I think it's always better to have plan B and C when you launch your game in Japan, and that's the overall amount of the paid items in Japanese games. So the monthly pass tends to be a little more expensive with minimum compared to that of what we saw in iOS apps, but very less money with 4,700 median on the monthly pass. Android wise is similar, and spent wise it's about the same, but a lot cheaper monthly pass. So I reluctantly want to say that Android users are less likely to spend more money. I mean, we kind of saw that with the overall budget size compared to iOS and then Android. So I think one might need to think very carefully on your pricing model even between these OS. Okay, so key insights from the top 100 games on Boss OS. So casual games led the way in 2024. And then shifting RPG popularity and monetization challenges. So I think if the classic RPG games and action games, require users to continually pay a lot of money to acquire seasonal characters, the exclusive ones, only available within 6 weeks. And yeah, it's not usually you pay like $100 and you are guaranteed for it. You have to do the gacha.
The chances.
Yeah, and So like that's how the Japanese people have made a lot of revenue from the games. But I think that's going in a direction where the users feel like that's too much of money.
Mhm.
I want to spend smart. And we see that that could have been why we see such a big drop on the RPG category in general in on both OS. And meanwhile, casual games seem very easygoing
Mhm.
and quickly accessible entertainment. So key takeaways in now both apps and games and both OS. Smart spending.
Spending.
Less manga, more education. Less comic books, but more Korean and English study.
Mhm.
And casual game is increasing, moving from time money demanding games like RPG or actions to casual and quickly accessible games. Start small, builds trust. Products, services, games that allow small, low commitment starts, just like an IAP and monthly passes for the games instead of subscriptions, seem to be preferred over long-term commitments to the Japanese users. And more non-JP made apps and games in the top 100 revenue charts. So it's good news for every one of you. So the Japanese people they are never like favoring the Japanese made apps or games. I think they are becoming more like unaware of where it's made. As long as like it looks Japanese on the titles, on the screenshots, on the ads, and the in-game or in-app, they're okay with that. I guess that's the mission that everyone has to really
Mhm.
overcome to make it look
Localize.
Japanese preferable. But you know it's still a good news. They're never gonna be biased toward like non-Japan made apps and games. Okay, are we good with the time?
43.
Okay.
Unless we have questions.
Let's first move on and then
Okay. I'll try to speed it up, but it's a fun part, I guess. of
yeah,
the-
more visual,
more
no more
visuals.
graphs and the numbers and the percentage and then drops and ups and stuff.
Good timing. It's the last part. All right, so we'll look into like the YouTube top 5 super chats. So super chats is like where the YouTubers do the live stream and then like people spend on it, and the ranking of the top 5 from 2023 and 2024.
Mhm.
From last webinar that we did in 2023, we highlighted that the VTubers are ranking really high, and like in the top 5, 4 of them are VTubers. And 2024 is actually the same story.
Oh.
4 out of 5 are VTubers, and
It's interesting that we always have one non-VTuber on this
I wanna check what marketing he's doing. Oh yeah, VTubers are quite strong, and
Yeah, and it's just these two VTubers, as you can, I don't know if you can look at it, but this one uh went up by 24 and this one went up by 13 compared to last
that's a lot.
year. Yeah. And but what happened to these two VTuber channels was that they graduated.
Graduated.
Yeah.
From what school? I'm kidding.
VTuber school, I
VTuber
guess.
school.
Yeah, that's the weird and interesting thing about the VTuber market in Japan is they go by a season. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
all the VTubers, especially the big ones like from Hololive and the Nijisanji,
Mhm.
I think they signed up for like only couple of years of activating
I see.
on the YouTube. And once that's over, they call it as graduation.
Okay.
So like second season Hololive members graduate at some point, and third season at some point. And as the older season VTuber members graduate, there is always the new students. But nobody knows who's behind this. But anyway, I think that's smart idea of operating
Sure.
entertainment. But so these two VTubers graduated
Mhm.
in 2024, and when they graduate, people somehow pay more money on the super chat. ありがとうございました。お疲れ様でした。また会いましょう。
Yeah,
あ
understand.
Yeah.
I guess it reminds me of AKB48 too. It always like
It's
remind
the
me
same thing.
concept like
Yeah.
why they're always 48 but there's always new members. But
Yeah.
apparently they do graduate
Yeah.
and they get
Yeah.
new members as well. So I
That's
think it's
what
very
every
true.
IP should do, whether games or non-games, with idols or not, to do. Is
Mhm.
the brand remains, the member change, and that's gonna give the newcomers and the returners.
More money.
Yep.
That's
So,
good marketing. Yes.
it is a good marketing, and let's do talk about the first ranking guy, the
guy.
only human being
Uh-huh.
on the ranking here. So he's called Soshina, and he's a stand-up comedian.
Mhm.
So he does live streaming on YouTube when he does the stand-up comedy, but he is famous for remembering all the fans who send super chats.
Oh wow.
And then he's so smart to use their names in his comedy.
Mhm.
And then he also makes shorts, not always with the super chat fans, but he does the live streaming and makes the shorts, and then run it on his YouTube channel, and then it went kind of viral with the super chat fans. And I think that could have been why people send him more and more super chats. And I think that's how he managed to have like 90 million yen in a
Wow.
year, and 90 million yen is about how much? Is about $1 million,
Wow.
or 800K. Just the currency, it's closer to 800K US dollar. Okay, so that's what happened, and Jamie is ready to talk about
I'll do it
trending
quickly.
content.
So yeah, with the cafe and food in Japan, it's all about health, I guess. So in 2023, we have the 10 yen bread with the cheese inside. It's really delicious, and we have the rice paper as well.
We had
We had
into
the rice
industry.
paper. It's related to diet as well, and the night cafe. And but this year, it's all about the acai bowl. It's very trending right now. So I guess from this year, it's more to like doing something by yourself, like you can make the acai bowl, and then the fried pondering. I thought it. Somebody talked about me to me about that, and I thought it's like something you can buy. But apparently, you buy the pondering donut, and then you cook it. You fry it at home. And it
Oh,
was
so
trending.
things you can do alone.
Yes,
Okay.
and the Baskin Robbins one is the Greed Festival campaign, which is like all it was sold out very quickly too.
Okay.
Like all the flavors that you want, you can have it in
Nice.
one bowl.
Yeah, it's kind of weird combination. We have acai bowl that's trending with the Great Festival on the Baskin Robbins. Okay, let's see.
And yes,
What
so
happened to
the boom of the acai bowl. So it was kind of popular 10 years ago, and now it's very popular right now, which they say it's like a superfood.
I can see why.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And for artists, still kind of like the same thing, the catchy repeated phrases and the choreography as well, I guess, like the influence
You
of
can
TikTok.
easily follow on TikTok, and then okay.
Right. So last year was all about, I guess number one was New Jeans, and I forgot their name, the Japanese group. And but this year it's Eyelet, and like more of like the um produced in like a TV show
Okay.
kind of a group. So I think the May is like from produced, I think. Not sure. But
Okay.
yeah, it's from produced. Or this is Haruka. Okay, and then next one is in people's category. From last year, it was all about just like sudden trend. So this like young boys suddenly trending because of something catchy
Yeah,
that
they're
they did.
catchy ice greeting.
Yeah, and then this year it's all about people are getting attracted to people who give positive energy.
Okay.
So these girls here are they're from different kind of field, but I think the common denominator is that they give positive mindset to
Okay.
people, and like you can laugh off your worries.
Yeah. But don't
Kind
get
of
us wrong. Otani is on another level. So
Yes.
he's not on the ranking right now. Like he's not bound to Japan. Anyway.
And about contents, Japan has always been like, they love characters, but I guess this year is kind of on a different level with like the cuteness,
Mm,
and it's just
the
sweeping.
soft
Yes.
marketing.
And yeah, the Tamagotchi is very back. It's all over the
Um,
stores and online stores as well.
yeah, we did mention about Tamagotchi last year, and it's I guess increasing.
Yes. And the Esther Bunny, it's apparently from a Korean artist, and the Japanese people who like Korean arts, they also tend to like
Ah.
this character, and it's booming
Okay.
in Japan as well. And also the Heisei,
This one.
yes, Heisei is like very Y2, not Y2K, but like
70s, 80s.
70s or 80s kind of scene, or
Okay.
like theme of the movie is also trending.
Okay. So nostalgia
Yeah,
remains.
right, right. And yep, the Tamagotchi meets
Examples.
innovation examples. This is the Esther Bunny.
Fluffies.
Yes. And the social
Memes.
media meme, the
Oh.
cat meme, animal memes is all over my TikTok. All over my TikTok and Instagram reels.
Yeah.
And we also have the cancel bathing gang.
Yeah, there are people who decided not to take a bath. I mean, there is still a debate whether they are taking a shower at least or not. But there is a bathing culture in Japan. So like on a bathtub, so like you get in there for like 30 to an hour. So like there are many different motivation behind it. Save the earls by saving the water, saving their own water bill, but they're just lazy and many things. But it's a thing. Like people say a lot about canceling bathing and why should other people do that too. But it's in general like that's the grouping the niche community is very going significant in Japan, no matter what it is.
Right. And we do have
That's what
cat
used to that's 23 or 4.
It has to be 2024.
Yeah,
I'll
we
fix
will-
that later.
Yeah. It's 24 like this crazy makeup memes, and then the animal memes
That kind of editing.
and cancel baiting gang. Yeah, I'm not part of it, but it's still true in Japan. And then
We have the new words.
catchphrases on TikTok always kind of go viral, and then everyone starts to talk about it and use the term in the daily lives, and a little bit of a change to how people show their beauty and cosmetic product.
Yeah, I think because before we still use mask, like majority of people still use mask, so the trend is all about like nails and stuff like that. But now it's like more on showing the face
Lips.
and then lips as well.
Okay,
So we've seen that trend.
that's an interesting point. And fashion.
And fashion is all about the ballet core, like
Yeah.
the
I
fluffy.
see that a lot on Shibuya.
yes, true. The ribbons and everything,
Yeah.
and also the Y2K bag, and then always pair with like big kind of like stuffed toy keyring, and the vanity bag, which they say like it kind of makes them more fashionable or
Okay.
like oshare. More like
Luxurious.
luxurious, right?
Okay,
And
interesting.
yeah, and with the experiences, the digital camera is
Nostalgia.
nostalgia, and the elevator photo booth. When I saw this online, I thought it's an actual elevator, but it's a photo booth.
Photo booths that
Elevator.
where the camera is above
Right.
on the ceiling.
Right. And also people are getting more into nature,
Okay.
which I guess we've been seeing in Japanese buildings now, like the new buildings
More
incorporate
greens.
more plants
Okay.
and gardens. And yeah, I guess that's it for the content of the forecast.
Yeah,
So,
this
go
is gonna
over
be
very
very quick.
quickly.
Yeah, smart spending. I think it's gonna stay because the Japanese yen is still low, and then the country itself is trying its best to revive its economy, but it's gonna take more time. So smart spending will stay, and subscription plus IAP hybrid models of monetization will be highly advisable. And then for the games, same smart spending, and think about adding monthly pass options. And content wise, simpler UGC. Everyone has to be able to follow it.
Mhm.
Like, everyone has to follow the choreograph, follow the very easy to remember phrase, and Y2K Renaissance. So everyone is reminiscing, early 2000 contents, and then maybe even back to like 70 to 80. Okay, so it's the Q&A times, but while we do that, you guys are welcome to connect us on the LinkedIn. And yep, so add us to your connection and leave us any questions. And you are welcome to leave questions, on
Right
here,
now.
and then we will use the remaining 3 minutes, with our utmost effort. But if we quickly run out of this minutes, we can definitely talk more on the LinkedIn.
Mhm.
Okay, and yep. So before we get hailed with the questions, definitely want to say thank you again for being such an awesome audience throughout the year. And we surely will get back next year.
Mhm.
And so, let us know what topics you are curious about Japan or Korea too, and we will use that as our virtual coffee break topic. And yeah,
Yeah. Just feel free to share to us what's your struggle like
Yeah.
growing in Japan.
like
And
why
maybe-
people don't respond to me on our approach on emails, maybe DMs on the Twitter and things like that.
with your creatives and everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Sure.
feel free to send us your app as well. We can probably do an audit,
Mhm.
see what we can do better
Yeah.
with your apps as well.
We only have 1 hour 1 minute, so I guess we can just say the closing and then promise regathering next year. So I wish you guys a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Oh, is that fireworks?
I think so.
showing up?
Yeah, 2 thumbs up. Yeah. Anyway.
Yay.